Hello everyone, I'm Sanasha Manidas. Today I'm here to explain about Gibbs free energy. So you are familiar with the word or the term Gibbs free energy, right? Aren't you? So today in this session we will be learning about Gibbs free energy in detail. Okay, so let's start. So what is this Gibbs free energy? Okay, so the Gibbs free energy tells us about the spontaneity of a process. What is the spontaneity? What is that? Okay, let me explain. A spontaneous process is one that occurs on its own. We don't have to do anything on that. It will happen by its own. Right? So without any energy input from outside, the process will happen. Those kind of processes are known as spontaneous processes. For example, if we have ice, if we keep ice at room temperature, yes, it will slowly get converted into water, right? We don't have to give anything, right? It will happen on its own. Coming to the next example, which is hot water. Again, if we keep hot water at room temperature, it releases temperature and the temperature becomes equal to the room temperature. This is also a spontaneous process. And water falling down. It's also a process which is happening on its own. We don't have to do anything on that. Right. So all these processes are spontaneous processes. Okay. So spontaneous processes are the processes which happens on its own. Right. So in chemistry, we have a term known as Gibbs free energy, which help us to tell about the spontaneity of a process, to check if a process happens on its own or not. Wonderful, right? Okay. So there are three factors which influence Gibbs free energy. So let's learn about the three factors. So the first one is entropy. You might have heard about the word entropy. We denote it using the letter S. Okay. So entropy is a degree of disorderness. What is that? Okay, I will explain. So first of all, I'm having a sealed container and I'm having some gas in it. Okay. So I'm having a sealed container. At one part, I'm having some gas in the container. When I remove this lid, what will happen? Yes, the gas molecule slowly escape to the other side of the container, right? So when all the gas molecule escape from the first chamber to the second chamber, the gas molecules are getting more freedom to move around because the volume of the container is increasing. So it will be having more freedom, right? So the disorderness increases here, right? So in the first case, there was only less disorderness. But in the second case, yes, when I opened the lid, yes, the disorderness increased, right? So in the first case, we can see that the entropy is small there because we know entropy is the degree of disorder, right? So in the first case, as the gas molecules are more ordered, here the entropy is small. So we have negative sign for the entropy here. And in the second case, as the gas molecules are more free, the disorderness is increasing, and here we have the simple positive for entropy. So if entropy is increasing, we have to think that yes, the freedom is increasing. The disorderness is increasing, right? So in this case, the process was spontaneous, right? The gas moved to the other side of the chamber by its own, right? So here, if the entropy here from this like experiment, we can conclude that if the entropy is positive, it means that the process is spontaneous, right? Is it clear? Okay, so let's move to the second factor, which is enthalpy. You might have heard about this word enthalpy, and you might have learned about exothermic reaction, endothermic reaction, and all in your lower grades, aren't you? Okay, so I have some hot water in a container. Okay, so if we keep this hot water at room temperature for some time, what will happen? Yes, it releases the heat energy and the temperature will come to the room temperature, right? So here the temperature is, the heat energy is released, so the temperature is decreasing. As the heat energy is released, the enthalpy changes negative because this is an exothermic process, right? So the enthalpy changes negative. Right. And this is also a spontaneous process. It is happening by its own. Right. So here in this case, the negative delta H is favoring the spontaneous process. Right. So from this experiment or a simple process, we can conclude that if the enthalpy changes negative, the process can be spontaneous. Right. Okay. So moving to the third factor, which is temperature. Okay, so here I'm having some ice cubes. Okay, so when we give temperature to the ice cubes, what will happen? The ice cubes absorb the temperature and it start to melt, right? So here, the temperature is changing, right? It's absorbing heat energy to melt, right? So there is change in temperature and the change in temperature is favoring the process, right? So here the change in temperature is making the process fast and it's happening on its own. So this is also a spontaneous process, right? So the third factor is temperature. So from that, what we can conclude? Yes, what we can conclude? Yes, actually, the three factors which are enthalpy change, entropy change, and the change in temperature favors spontaneous processes, right? All these three are the factors which affect or determine the spontaneity of a process, right? Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, so what is happening here? Yes, actually here ice is absorbing heat and it's melting, right? See here delta H is positive, right? Because in this process, heat energy is absorbed. So this is an endothermic process, right? But in the case of hot water, we have learned that exothermic process was favoring spontaneity, right? But here, this is an endothermic process. Still, this is spontaneous. Oh, this is a big problem, right? So in some cases, positive enthalpy change or endothermic processes is favoring spontaneity, but in some other cases, exothermic processes are favoring spontaneity, right? So, yes, what is the exact thing actually? Okay, so we can conclude that only the delta H change, the enthalpy change it cannot only determine the spontaneity of a process. So enthalpy or entropy simply cannot explain or give an idea about the spontaneity of a process. So in this scenario, what we should do? Okay, let me give you the answer. Okay, what is happening here? Okay, there was a scientist known as Joshua Willard Gibbs. He blended all these factors like enthalpy change, temperature change, and entropy change. He put all these factors in a mixer and he blended and he got a new term actually that is known as Gibbs free energy, right? So he could find that only the enthalpy change or entropy change or change in temperature cannot explain the spontaneity of a process. It's the difference between enthalpy change and the product of temperature and entropy change determine the spontaneity of a process, and he termed that quantity as Gibbs free energy. You got it? Okay, so simply enthalpy change or entropy change or temperature cannot explain the spontaneity of a process. It's a difference between the enthalpy change and the product of entropy change in temperature give an idea about the spontaneity of a process. So if, I forgot to tell you that Gibbs free energy is denoted by G and the change in Gibbs free energy is denoted by delta G. So if delta G is less than 0, the process will be spontaneous. So if delta G is negative, the process will happen by its own. It will be spontaneous. If delta G is positive or greater than 0, yes, the process will not be spontaneous. It will be non-spontaneous. And if delta G is 0, yes, it will be in equilibrium. Is it clear now? Okay, I hope it's clear. So moving to the important points that we should remember. So we have already learned that if delta G is less than 0, the process will be spontaneous. If delta G is greater than 0, the process will be non-spontaneous. And if delta G is equal to 0, it will be in equilibrium. Okay. And if delta H is negative and delta S is positive, if the enthalpy change is negative and entropy change is positive, then the process will be spontaneous, right? And if delta H is positive and delta S is negative, the process will be non-spontaneous. Okay, let me explain it. See, here we have the equation delta G equals delta H minus T delta S. Clear? So, if delta H is negative, and delta S is positive. If delta S is positive, the whole term will be having negative sign only, right? So negative and negative. So the whole delta G will be negative only. Clear? And coming to the second case, if delta H is positive and delta S is negative, negative into negative will be positive. So the whole term will become positive. So positive and positive, it will give positive result for delta G. So delta G will be positive. Clear? Okay, I hope it's clear. So thank you for being with me for this time. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope everything is clear.